Yo, what's happening, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning back into this video. This is going to be kind of an interesting one, actually. I'm actually really excited to film this. We're going to be going over kind of the short-term and the long-term outlooks on the crypto markets as a whole. I'm kind of going to focus towards the end of the video more on the longer-term holds. I'm going to get into some of the coins that I'm looking at currently and that I'm looking to get a pretty massive ROI in the next few years. So that'll be kind of towards the end on the coins that I'm looking at. But one thing that I wanted to go over is looking at the Nasdaq. So this is back. Unfortunately, it's not showing before 2002, but this is the tail end of that .com bust here. So this would be the tail end of the correction. And then we kind of saw another pretty nice bull market up here. This is like an 800% return, I believe. 900% from bottom to top. But this is a massive increase in price. And what you can see is when the stock market exploded, when the dot-com bubble exploded, it's kind of similar to what's happening in crypto. You have all of these ICOs coming out. You have all of these companies that are coming out, and they're launching their new business plans. In 2001, 2000, everything was great. Venture capital was super easy to get. Everybody was just throwing money at anything. Dumb money was all involved. And then came the crash, and a lot of those companies got liquidated. A lot of them went out of business, and the resilient companies survived. You know, the Amazons, the Yahoos, there's a bunch of them that survived. And if you invested in them, even if you waited until after the boom and the bust, then you would still have seen a massive increase. If you had the balls to hold it all the way through, you're looking at a 1,600% gain. And that's like crypto gains, you know? People are like, oh man, I'm going to get a 1,000% return this year. And basically the point is, this is on the monthly chart on the Nasdaq. But my point is I don't even think that this was the big bubble. I do think that this was somewhat of a bubble because the technology was not up to par at the moment. You know, the technology was 100% not ready for the mainstream yet. And it wasn't ready back in 2014 either, 2013. So we had this pump and then this dump. And this is when everyone was just straight, Bitcoin's dead. It's never coming back. And it hung out in a very long bear market because it was super illiquid. There weren't very many people involved. The market caps were so small, and it was not even on the radar to most people. Now Bitcoin's kind of on the radar, but that's what I wanted to get into next. Is I don't think this was even the big pump that you're seeing here. 2008 was a larger pump and dump than 2000, 2001. So, and then now you're seeing an even larger price increase here that we're looking at right now. So, you know, there will be a correction coming at some point for the stock markets. And hopefully, you know, as everybody says, we'll see some sort of hedge in the crypto space as well. So maybe that if the stock markets fall a little bit, maybe crypto will rise, but who knows? We don't have any proof of that yet. My thing is, when Bitcoin becomes a utility, not even Bitcoin, when crypto starts to become an everyday necessity to people, that is when we will get into this massive pump that everybody thought this was. And there's a lot of people who are saying, you know, Bitcoin's never going to get to 50K. Bitcoin's never going to get to 100K. Well, to me, it's like, okay, you're not really looking at the bigger picture, because yeah, sure, maybe Bitcoin can go away, but this market is not going anywhere. This market is tiny. 411 billion is tiny. And my whole thought on this is, when crypto goes mainstream, we're going to see this. This is what this is going to look like. The next pump, maybe not the next one, maybe in 2 years from now, when it truly is mainstream and everybody is using it. You're buying your houses on the blockchain. All of your insurance products are used on the blockchain. Your flights, your travel, everything is done on the blockchain because it's easier and cheaper. When that happens and the mainstream public gets involved, this thing will rise to insane numbers. And people will say, oh my God, crypto, and not necessarily Bitcoin. It could be Bitcoin. I hope it's Bitcoin. I own a good amount of Bitcoin, but, crypto in general, you know, when these ETFs and indexes come out for crypto, it will rise in an ungodly amount in the future. And the way that I kind of look into this is I use Google Trends, and this is no secret. You know, a lot of people use this. I've seen multiple people do YouTube videos about this, and I figured it's a good time to do it right now. Basically, you can search for whatever you want, and you can see where the most search terms are coming from, like at what time the most search terms are coming from. So people on Google are searching for Bitcoin back in September, a pretty good amount, 16, 13, 13, 19, 20. And then all the way up in December when we had that massive pump, literally everybody and their mom and their grandmothers, everybody was talking about it at Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner, and everybody's talking about Bitcoin. And it reached 100 up in this range right here, December 17th to December 23rd. And we've been on a steady downtrend since then. And right now we're at 14. We haven't seen numbers like 14 since October. And before that, it wasn't until last July. And so what's amazing to me about this is if you go back to the Bitcoin chart and you look on this 15-minute candle that we were looking at earlier, I'm not even going to be able to see anything. So if we go into this 15-minute candle that we just had, this is insane. Like a 3% gain, and we're due for a little bit of a correction after some profit taking there. So about a 2.3% gain here in that 15 minutes. But if you look at this gain that we've had over the past few weeks, even months, like let's go back to like a day. If we look back on this day chart, where we're at since, let's go back to this. So 48 in February 4th, we were at 48 search terms. So February, right in here, the price has constantly risen since then. And we've had a gain to date of 40%. But what's funny is the trend, the search traffic, the amount of people who are in Bitcoin, or searching for Bitcoin has decreased dramatically from 100 all the way down to 14. You know, that is it's an 86% decrease in search traffic. And so what that tells me is this pump is happening from people already involved in Bitcoin, maybe institutional investors, you know, people like that, and not the mainstream. And what that tells me is that's a very bullish sign for me, is because when you're in a huge bubble and a huge pump, when you see these search terms explode and they're at ungodly all-time highs of, you know, big multiples of what they were in the past. I mean, you were sitting at 13 in October and you hit 100. So you can look at these search terms, and I mean, you can look at anything. You can even look at like Binance, and you can see just different things, you know, same idea. In December, 100. Now it's all the way down to 7, 8, 10. So this to me is a really good tool to kind of get an idea of where we're at. And the nice thing is we're at these pretty close to all-time lows right now. And that tells me that this market is ready to kind of explode in the upward direction. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to go out and buy Bitcoin. I'm not telling you to go buy anything. I'm just giving you my thoughts, and this is kind of my research on how I'm looking into these coins. And the same thing goes for hashtags. And this is more social media driven versus, you know, general website traffic, Google traffic. But if you search for Bitcoin, the weekly trend is at 0%. And I mean, like, you can look at Cardano. If it ever loads, 0% again. The monthly trend is only up 6%. And, you can look at coins. You can look at crypto as a whole is at negative 1%. And let's see what cryptocurrency is. It's at positive 1%. So, I mean, as you can tell, the people who are pumping this right now are insiders. You know, it's everybody who's already involved, and the mass adoption of cryptocurrency right now is so small compared to what it could be. You know, I mean, just go back to the market cap, 411 billion. Apple is worth double this. That's one company in the S&P 500 is worth double what the entire crypto market cap is. That's 1,600 coins. So to me, this tells me that, okay, we probably haven't even hit this .com bubble yet. And this is so far different than stocks. You know, everybody thinks that just because Bitcoin hit 20,000 means that it's some major bubble, but it's not. There's a very limited supply. There's far less Bitcoins out there than there are stocks per company. And the fact that it's worth 20,000 doesn't mean anything because it can be broken down into fractions of a piece of a Bitcoin, right? So it's all perception. And so when Bitcoin gets to 20 grand, people get all worried like, oh, it's too expensive. It's too expensive. Well, is it too expensive? Because have we even hit these minor corrections that we're already seeing? And then you're looking at the Nasdaq and looking at this massive increase that we've had the past 8 years. You know, I don't know. We're sitting at 411 billion for the entire market cap. This seems way too small. Maybe for the time being right now and the technology out, maybe it's about right. But I mean, man, this thing has a ways to run. So that brings me into my next topic is what are the coins I'm kind of looking at? And I'm going to make this pretty quick, but these aren't necessarily the only coins I'm looking at, but it gives you an idea of the type of coins that I'm looking at. I really like these platform coins, these coins that can reach out to big business and make big partnership deals. And there's many more than EOS, Cardano, Neo, and Ethereum. There's many more that are on my radar. These are just the big names, and I'm just going to go over them briefly just to give you guys an idea of where they are in terms of market size. So Ethereum at its all-time high hit a $140 billion market cap. So that put Ethereum at about $1,300 a coin. So if EOS and Cardano and Neo can get to these same valuations, market cap valuations, and I'm not talking coin value, I'm talking market cap. So if EOS were to get there, you'd have a 15 times gain from where it currently stands. If Cardano gets there, it's roughly an 18 times gain from where it currently stands. If Neo gets there, it's 29 times gain. And there are plenty of other coins that can get there. But the reason I like these ones, and these are pretty low risk in my opinion. Now that doesn't mean go invest in them and you're for sure going to make money. But these are just kind of the ones on my radar at the current moment because they have the potential to make big time partnership deals with big firms. And there's a lot of news that has been coming out, like Amazon AWS is going to be offering sort of a blockchain for rent type business model. You know, IBM is big into the blockchain. And when these companies start, and insurance companies is going to be huge. When those companies start moving over to the blockchain to start handling their transactions, you know, you got to think these companies that have tons of data storage and they need this stuff transacted quick and very cheap, the blockchain becomes a very nice solution for them. And even things like real estate, you know, people are putting houses and even there's an Airbnb coin for, it's not Airbnb, but it's the blockchain version of Airbnb. And so when these things start to hit the market and really start to make deals with big companies, those are the ones that I think stand the test of time when we do have our ultimate downtrend. Now, who knows? You know, Bitcoin could, you know, kind of take a turn for the worse and we could go down even more. And this could just be another part of our correction. And I apologize for these blue lines, but, and if it does, then that just, to me, it just signals, you know, we're getting this thing on the cheap, and the cheap, we're just going to keep piling onto it. But, that's kind of my outlook. I know it's not super in depth, it's not super technical today. I'll probably do a more in-depth technical analysis video on Bitcoin. And maybe if you guys want to leave in the comments some of your other coins that you want me to do that on, I'll do that in the next video. But with that, I'll catch you guys all in the next one.